What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Ernie, Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. All right, today's video, we're going to be talking about Black Panther, number 2, by John Ridley and Juan Cabal. And in this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly why the democratic experiment Wakanda is doing right now is already being sabotaged by T'Challa's actions, and why Wakanda's loyalties to its former king are starting to erode, and more importantly, why this decision to create sleeper agents out in the world is starting to backfire on him. And I would even dare say I think we have a good answer as to who these new enemies are that are going after the secret agents of Wakanda. We're going to talk about all this and more right now, but first, if you want to see more awesome videos like this one, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because I post multiple videos throughout the week, plus live stream the Blerd Cave every Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Hit that bell button, that way you don't miss anything. Also, if you enjoy the video, Hulk smash that like button, because it helps the channel out. That said, let's talk about Black Panther, number 2.
You can't see me, you Stevie, wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
Okay, so when last we left off, we discovered that Wakanda has taken on the democratic experiment. They have changed how their rulership works, how their political arena works. They are no longer a monarchy, they're now a democracy. T'Challa, while yes, he is the emperor of the intergalactic empire of Wakanda, on Wakanda proper on Earth, he is not the king anymore. Decisions about the direction of the country are now handled by politicians who speak for the people. And even though T'Challa seemed like he was willing to go along with creating a democracy for Wakanda and no longer being its sole monarch, T'Challa was still pulling some really shady moves behind the scenes, because in a way, while I think a lot of the comparisons between Batman and Black Panther are entirely unfair, however, I do think there is one aspect where Batman and Black Panther are incredibly alike, and it has nothing to do with their wealth, it has nothing to do with the design of their costumes, or the fact that they are, for the most part, normal people who either A, have an incredible amount of wealth that allows them to create the things that make them amazing, or they have access to heart-shaped herbs that make them amazing, as well as incredible wealth. But no, it's the fact that T'Challa is not a very trusting person. T'Challa doesn't trust anyone. He doesn't even trust the Avengers. Right now, he believes that the Avengers are going to wind up turning on Wakanda at some point, and I think this, on top of a laundry list of other things, is going to begin to erode all of T'Challa's personal relationships, whether he wants that to be the case or not. It has already kind of eroded his relationship with Storm, though that one is kind of a two sides of the same coin deal, because Storm didn't necessarily do anything to foster any kind of trust between them during the events of Ten of Swords. But what T'Challa is doing is that he has set up sleeper agents across the globe, and in this particular instance, we know that there are agents all over the place, but we're focusing on 4 specific agents in this particular issue. One in Moscow, Russia, another one in Brussels in Belgium, and another in Berlin in Germany, and more specifically on one in Georgetown, Washington, D.C. And they all have a variety of responses as to how they feel about T'Challa letting them know that there is some kind of a secret organization that is assassinating each and every one of them. Case in point, the agent from Moscow, his reaction is anger. It's not so much that he doesn't want the program to end, but he's mad that he feels like his time was wasted. And more importantly, he's angry with T'Challa because his anger is more directed at the fact that T'Challa, as he says in this, is he doesn't say I'm sorry, he doesn't say please forgive me or anything like that. It kind of comes off as T'Challa's cold way of handling situations. He invested all this time into becoming a sleeper agent, embedding himself into a world that is foreign to him, and in this particular case, it seems like he's been working as a construction worker, doing things that he probably wouldn't be caught dead doing on Wakanda proper, so you can kind of see why he's angry. We have our other agent in Brussels. She is actually over the moon about this. She's actually completely happy with the idea that the mission's over. She doesn't want to be in Brussels anymore. She doesn't want to be in Belgium anymore. She's tired of this. She's ready to go home. She gets to go home to see the people who she knows and loves in Wakanda and be back where she belongs. She's completely happy with this, and she's literally thanking T'Challa for ending the entire program. Meanwhile, the operative in Berlin has a very surprising reaction to it. He's not happy about it. He's sad about this. He's been ordered to stand down, and he doesn't want to go back to Wakanda because, as he says, my life has been to serve. What am I without the mission? He literally begs T'Challa to not send him back, to not end this, because he wants to be a part of something bigger. He wants to feel like he's actually accomplishing something. And much like you kind of hear the old trope, because this isn't really so much a trope as it is something that's kind of true, sometimes people who have been in positions of servitude, whether it's people who have served in the military, people who are police officers, firefighters, first responders, people whose lives have for a large part been built around protecting, serving, or helping other people, sometimes they don't know what to do with themselves when they don't have that to fall back on. And that's what's happening here. And then the next response we get is from a character who we actually get a name for, Kimura, and she is like the other agents. She has a very different response compared to what T'Challa might have been expecting. She doesn't care. The program has been shut down. She's okay with it. She's like, okay, fine, that's cool. You're getting rid of the program. I mean, yeah, that's whatever, but it's too late. She's already made a life for herself in America and she doesn't want to go back. She has a husband, a daughter. She's created a family. She has put down roots. And yes, while this was all in aid of completing the mission, she doesn't want to go back. She wants to stay with her family and she doesn't care what danger is coming their way. Wakanda is no longer her home. It's just a place that she was born as far as she's concerned. She wants to stay in America where she knows she will get to be with her family, because while I do think she could technically bring her family to Wakanda, I know that's going to be something people could be like, oh, why just bring him to Wakanda? Well, let's address the elephant in the room here. It seems as though her husband, who she has married and had a child with, is a white man. And we all know how Wakanda, while they're not as xenophobic as they used to be in the past, I'm pretty sure Kimura understands that just moving her white husband with their biracial child to a country that for the majority of its history hid itself away from other countries and nations and isn't really fond of sharing its secrets and what it's all about to other people up until recently, I think she gets that it probably wouldn't be the smoothest of transitions. And despite knowing that danger is coming, she is completely prepared for when these new assailants come to attack. At a point where I actually thought this was a very interesting scene, because as it plays out, we see that she's just going through the motions, because deep down she's thinking about all the things that T'Challa told her earlier. And while her husband and daughter seem completely oblivious to the fact that they are being attacked, she is completely aware and she goes into attack mode to try and defend her family. And she, just like Jai and Omolola, Kimura is no match for this new enemy, this enemy that seems incredibly faceless. They don't seem to have any individual identities whatsoever, and more importantly, they don't care about dying. They don't care about being maimed. They don't care about anything. When Black Panther steps in to fight off against these enemies, they don't fear death the way that some of T'Challa's enemies in the past have. When T'Challa threatens to potentially kill this guy if he doesn't reveal who he is or who he works for, the guy just simply says, what are you gonna do? Kill me? We live to die. We still don't know who these people are, but what we do know is that they are incredibly prepared for what is to come. Even when T'Challa and Omolola are regrouping with Shuri and they're trying to figure out exactly what these people are up to, these same individuals attack again, and once again saying pretty much the same thing. We live to die, but this time it's going to be your turn first. Who are these people? Who are they? Where do they come from? What is it that they're all about? Why are they going after Wakanda? And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I had a very difficult time thinking about who or what this could potentially be, but if the past is anything to go by, I think it's actually safe to say that whoever these people are, they seem to have a very intimate knowledge of how to fight against Wakandan hand-to-hand combat techniques. They seem to be keenly aware of how to destroy Wakandan tech, and they also seem to know a lot about what T'Challa has been up to. Now, at first, I thought maybe these were sleeper agents that T'Challa had employed that he forgot about, or that had decided to turn against the crown. And I'm actually still not far from that way of thinking. I'm thinking these guys are former war dogs, people who probably infiltrated other countries and states in the past, and maybe even under T'Challa's rule, or maybe even prior to T'Challa's rule, and have simply turned on the crown. I mean, this wouldn't be the first time that someone from within Wakanda decided that they didn't want to be a part of what Wakanda had to offer, or hated Wakanda for what it was that they had had to offer. We've seen this with Doom War. We've seen this with A Nation Under Our Feet. A lot of Black Panther's threats come from within. We know it's not Killmonger because he's dead, and we know it's not Zinzi because Zinzi has become one with Bast. That doesn't really leave a whole lot of other suspects, but I will say, just looking at their garb, it's not that dissimilar from a Wakandan War Dog's outfit, even though they seem to wear a bit more baggy clothing with a little bit more flair on it than what we're used to seeing with the Hattusarazi. But I think there might be something there. I'm not saying I'm 100% certain, but I would not be surprised if these individuals turned out to be former Wakandans. I will say Shuri seems to know something is up too, because while she's investigating on her own about these guys, she does seem to say, oh, these suits, they look like, and she's cut off. She doesn't finish her sentence because she's interrupted. Whatever this insight is, she doesn't share it with T'Challa when she re-ups with her, but I don't think that's anything malicious or anything like that. I think it just doesn't come up because I don't think she even really knows completely as to whether or not that it could be them. But what they do know is that whoever it is, it's not a singular individual. This is an organization because they speak in terms of we, they, us. They speak in the plural. They don't seem to speak with any individual identity. But anyways, those are my musings about the current run of Black Panther under John Ridley and Juan Cabal. Let me know what you guys think about it so far. Keep it plus ultra and sound off in the comments.